Myself Swimpi Pahuja, Assistant Professor, CSE Department, AKGC, Ghaziabad. So, I will be delivering second lecture on data structure today. The topic will be hashing as well as the collision resolution. These are the contents I will be covering. First, there will be introduction to hashing, followed by some examples. Then the collision resolution as well as the various techniques for the collision resolution. And then I will be covering about short discussion on storage management as well as the compaction techniques. Now, starting with what is hashing. First, hashing is a type of data structure which is generally designed in order to use a special function which is called hash function. And this hash function, it is used to map a given value with a particular key for faster access of all the elements which are present in the table. The efficiency of mapping will depend on the efficiency of the function which we are going to use, and it is very important technique which is widely used for implementing dictionaries in real life. It makes use of constant time per operation on an average. So, now what is the basic concept of hashing? What happens actually is that we have the actual data that needs to be stored in our database, and this actual data, this is sent to the hash function, and this hash function is actually responsible for converting our actual data into a particular value, and the hash value is mapped on this table, and the corresponding actual data is stored against this hash values over here in this particular table. So, this is the basic functionality how the hashing works. So, whatever data we have, we want to convert our data into a non-invertible value. So, in that case also we make use of hash functions, and nowadays these hash functions, they are used in wide variety of applications, even for research purposes, for data hiding purposes, for just changing our data from one form to another. We use these hash functions which are very much secure in terms of in terms of security of data. So, these are the various examples of hashing. As I told that in real life the hashing has a very big example in the dictionaries itself. In dictionary it stores the elements so that they can be located quickly using certain keys, like a dictionary may hold the bank accounts where the key will be the account number, and the corresponding information with that an account holder will be present corresponding to that key. So, that is the actual data which is stored against that particular key. So, how the dictionary is implemented? So, various data structures can be used in order to implement the dictionary, in order to realize the key which is taken out by means of hash functions. So, we use these kind of data structures basically. First one is array, then we have linked list, then red black trees, then binary tree, AVL tree, as well as the hash tables. So, these hash tables, they have their application in the implementation of dictionaries. Now, why hashing is required? Now, what is the need of these hashing techniques? So, first of all, we have various kind of algorithms for searching algorithms, like we have linear search algorithm. So, the linear search algorithm is taking total time to search is big of n. So, this searching time is equal to the total number of elements which are required to search for a particular element in the list. Like, as an example, if I take this list, now if I take this list and I say that okay, I have to search for an element like I am searching for an element called 9, fine. So, here what it will do, my linear search, if I am using this linear search algorithm to search for this element, as we have discussed in last lecture also, first is it will check for this 38, that whether this 38 is equal to the value 9. then it will move further, it will check for this 25, whether this 25 is equal to 9, and so on. It will keep on moving from all these positions till it reaches to the position where it is getting the value 9. So here the total number of comparisons, they are equal to the total number of elements which are present in the list until we are able to find this element for which we are searching for. Fine. So that means the worst case complexity for this searching is big of n, because if I, let's say I am searching for something which is not present over here in this list, like I am searching for let's say 22. Fine. Now this 22, it is not present here in this list. So now what the algorithm will do? Algorithm will check for every element. It will check for it will compare with this 38, it will compare with 25, it will compare with 12, 10, and so on. Fine. So here again we are not getting anything but n number of comparisons the algorithm is making. So that's why n number big of n will be the total search time that is required using the linear search algorithm. Similarly, this was a disadvantage of linear search that was covered by another method called binary search method. So binary search method has reduced these number of comparisons, and these number of comparisons were reduced to big of log n. Fine. So number of comparisons are reduced by calculation of middlemost element in the binary search, and the comparisons were reduced. But if I talk about binary search tree and AVL search trees, they are also having the search time which is proportional to big O of log n. So none of them had the search time which is equal to big O of 1. So that's why we move towards hashing. So whenever we want to reduce the search time, whenever we want to make the search time very much less as compared to big O of n, as compared to big O of log n, we want just big O of 1 search time, so we move towards hashing. So that's why the hashing came into existence. Now the same question, is there any way that we can get big O of 1 access time without wasting lot of space? Because previous algorithms, they were wasting lot of space also. So in order to get this thing, we are moving towards hashing. So hashing has provided us the solution to get the access time reduced to big O of 1, as well as to get the minimum amount of storage space in order to do the search. So this is the basic idea for the hashing. We will be using hash functions, as we have seen in the diagram, in order to map the keys into the positions in a particular hash table. Now the example can be like, if there is a student and the student has an ID which is this ID may serve as the key value for that student. So this ID is applied to an hash function, and the student's details will be stored in the hashed value of that table. So what will happen in this way, we are able to secure our database, we will able to secure our student data wherever we have kept, by computing their hashed values, because we are not storing the actual data randomly, we are storing it into the positions which has been defined by the hashed functions. So to search for A, to search for the data of A, we will be computing again the hash value of that key, and then this key will be returning the location address in the table, and if the no address is returned, that means that data is not present in the in whatever database we are searching for. Now this was all about hashing. So next topic is collision resolution. Now what happens, like we are talking about hashing, we have one data, like in previous example there was a key of a particular student, that was his roll number. Then we have applied hash function on this key, and after applying hash function on this key, we got some hashed value of this key, and this hashed value is mapping to a particular table represented by this key. Let's say this is the key value. So this table is having key value pairs. Fine. So this corresponding to this key, here is the data kept for this particular student for which we are searching for. Now what collision says, what is collision actually? Here this key for which hash value is calculated, when we will apply like this is key 1, fine, when we have another key, key number 2, and we will apply hash function on this key. Fine. So, here what it will give, it is giving the same key value, it is giving the same output. So, here we are having the collision, but here actually we have already stored the value which is corresponding to key 1. So, there is a collision over here and this needs to be resolved. So, the same thing which I was talking about, that if hash function returns a slot which is already occupied, then we can say there is a collision. So, like here hash function is applied on this particular key and on this particular key. So, these two keys, they are returning the same value, the same address value where this value Fred needs to be kept. Fine. So, initially this for this particular key we have already stored this value corresponding, that is Fred. But what about this key? This is also giving the same key value. So, here we are having a collision and we need to resolve this collision by means of certain strategies. So, there are collision resolution strategies for them. We use various techniques. There are two kinds of techniques that can be used to resolve the collision. First one is separate chaining, which is also termed as open hashing. Second one is open addressing, which is also termed as closed hashing. And this open hashing is further divided into three more types, that is linear probing, quadratic probing and the double hashing. So, let us start with the discussion one by one. So, whenever two values they are hashing to same location, that we have seen by means of diagram, that is termed as collision. So, there are two ways for collision resolution, separate chaining as well as open addressing. In separate chaining we will be having the array of linked list implementation, and in open addressing this is based on array based implementation. So, in linear probing we will be using linear search, in quadratic probing non-linear search is used, and in double hashing two hash functions are generally used. So, let us discuss them in detail one by one. First of all, what is separate chaining? So, hash table is implemented as an array of linked list in case of separate chaining. Here what we do, like here we are having a universe of keys. So, these are the actual keys K1, K2 and up to so on up to K7, and these universe of keys, they are mapped via hash function to a particular value. So, here if I see K1 key and K4 key, these two keys are resulting to this same positional value. So, here that means there is a collision and this collision needs to be resolved. So, in order to resolve this collision, what we use this linked list. We make use of another data structure which is called linked list. So, here by means of the linked list, by pointer to this linked list, we are storing K1 also, we are storing K4 also. Similarly, K5, K7 and K2, they are also mapping to same location over here. So, again there is a collision. So, that will be resolved again by this separate chaining method, where we will place K5, K2 and K7 also by means of a linked list. Fine. So, this is what we call separate chaining. So, inserting any item which hashes at a particular index is simply insertion into the linked list here at that particular position, and the synonyms, they are chained in the same linked list. Now, let us make it more clear by means of an example. Here we are given with these key values. Fine. So, in these key values, they are given in this order only. So, we are given a hash table of size 7, and we have to use separate chaining method in order to find out that where the collision is and how, and we need to resolve it by using this separate chaining method. Fine. So, if collision occurs, we can use this method. So, what we will do, we will apply hash function on each and every key given to us one by one. So, we will apply hash function on first key, that is 23. Fine. Hash function given is this one. This is hash function. Here you will put the key value, like first one is 23. So, I will put H23. Fine. And then here 23 mod 7. So, this is already given that this is the hash function that needs to be applied. So, I will apply this hash function. So, I will get this value as modulus operator gives the remainder. Fine. Similarly, I will apply hash function on next key, that is 13. So, I will get the value 6. I will apply the hash function on next key, which will be giving value 0. and applying it on 14, it will be giving the value 0, but 0 was already there in the previous hash value for 21. That means here I am having a collision. Fine. Again for next key we are again getting 0. So that means we are having a collision over here, and this collision is now resolved using separate chaining method. So what we will do for 0 position, we will map the first key that has 0 value, that is 21, then second key from which we got the 0 value, that is 14, and third one 7 from which we got the 0 value. So we will arrange them by means of the single linked list, and this is what we call the separate chaining. So likewise we can solve the complete example. Now separate chaining, now if we are given with the string values as a key, so in that case how we will apply this separate chaining method, how we will calculate the key values for which we need to store in our hash table. So that is done by means of ASCII values. We will take help from ASCII values over here. So now the question is that we have to use the hash function in order to load the following commodity items into a hash table. So this is actually a shopping list. Fine. Or you can say a bill of a particular shopping that has been done by a particular person. So this bill contains that what the person has bought, how much quantity he has bought, and finally what is the price of that particular item. Fine. So we need to use the hash functions in order to load these items. So these are actually, these items which he is talking about, these are actually my keys. Fine, I have to load these keys into the hash table. Fine, and it is given that I have to take the hash table size of 13, and in case of collision I have to use separate chaining method. So now what we will do, first step will be, we will take each and every key and we will calculate the ASCII value of that key. Fine. So like here for first key onion, I will calculate the hash value of this. So for O, what is your ASCII value? That is 111. So 111 over here. For N, the ASCII value is 110. So we will have 110. For I, the ASCII value is 105. So we will have 105. Fine. For O, again we have ASCII value 111, and for N again we have ASCII value of 110. So we will add all these values and we will mode it by the total size of the hash function that we are hash table that we are given, and after calculating this we will get the value 1. Similarly, we can calculate this thing for all the keys. We can calculate it for tomato, for cabbage, carrot, and so on. Fine. So here few have been shown, like for hash value of salt we have obtained the value 7, for hash value of orange we have obtained the value of 12. So when we will calculate all this, we will get we will be able to figure out this table. Fine. So here we have calculated here all the keys by using the formula. Now what we will do, this onion, this is mapping to position number 1, then carrot is also mapping to position number 1. That means there is a collision over here. Fine. So we will resolve it by separate chaining method. So first at first position I will have onion as well as carrot by the linked list. Similarly, if I see, let's check this position number 10. Fine. So here I am getting the position number 10 for tomato. So we are getting position number 10 for tomato, for olive, for melon. Fine. So for these three we are getting the position number 10. So in this case we will just again we are having the collision for so we will just arrange them by means of the linked list. So in the similar manner we can make the complete hash table representation. Now second method for collision resolution technique is open addressing. So unlike separate chaining, all the keys are stored inside the hash table only. Like here in previous case, these values, these key values, they are not stored inside the table only. They are lying outside the table by means of an extra data structure which is a linked list. Fine. So what we want now, we want that all the keys, they should be stored inside the table. No keys should be outside the table. So hash function will be used to compute the hash value for the key to be inserted, and the hash value will be used as an index in order to store that key in the hash table. And if the collision occurs, then probing will be performed. Probing means that we will be finding an empty position in the memory where we can keep our value which has arrived and due to which the collision has occurred. And once that is found, we can just insert our key into it. So we have various advantages of open addressing, like all items, they are stored in hash table itself. There is no need of another data structure as we had in case of separate chaining. Open addressing here is more efficient in terms of storage. Disadvantages are the keys of object, they need to be which are to be hashed, they need to be distinct. They are dependent on choosing a proper table size, and they require 3 states that need to be taken into consideration, which are occupied, empty, as well as the delete stage. Then what is linear probing now, because we are having various techniques of open addressing. So first one is linear probing. So whenever collision occurs, we generally linearly probe for the next bucket. Linearly probe means we are linearly searching for the next empty bucket, and as long as we will get that empty bucket, we will put our data into it. So its advantages, it is easy to compute, and the major disadvantage of this is clustering. So many consecutive elements, they can form groups also, that is another disadvantage of it, and it takes time to search for an element for the empty bucket where that element needs to be placed due to which the collision occurred. Worst case time complexity to search an element is big of table size. Fine. So because this is using linear search method in order to search for the empty space. So even if there is only one element present and all elements are deleted, then also we have to check for the complete table, and we have to check for the deleted markers in the complete table. So here is an example of linear probing. So we will be using the hash function key mode 7, and we will be inserting these keys using linear probing technique in order to avoid the collision. So for first, what we will do, that this 7 means the size of table. So what I will do, I will make the size of table starting from 0 to 6 will be the size of the table. Now I will insert my first key, that is 50. So step 2. So we have to insert the first key, which is 50. So what I will do, I will calculate, this is the hash function given, key mode 7. So what I will do, I will calculate this 50 mod 7, fine, and I will find out what is the remainder. So when I will calculate this 50 mod 7, I will get the remainder equal to 1. So at first position in this table, I will keep this data 50. Then taking the next key is 700. So again applying the same function, 700 mod 7, I will get the index value 0 here. So at 0 position, I will keep this 700. Then for the next key, I have the value that the key value is 76. Again I will apply 76 mod 7 to it. I get the remainder 6. So at 6th position, I will keep 76. Then next value is 85. So when I will do 85 mod 7, I got the remainder 1. Now see here, at first position you have already placed 50, fine. So where we will keep this 85? So according to linear probing, now we will start searching for the next empty bucket. So next empty bucket which I found is this one, fine. So if I see the previous slide over here, so this is my next empty bucket, because at first position I have already put 50. So at this empty bucket I can place 85. Fine. So you will get this 85 at this empty bucket. Then next key is 92. Again 92 mod 7, I got the value 1, but at 1 we have already placed our data 50. Fine. So we will again find out the next empty bucket, but here at next empty bucket we have already placed 85. So for going with the next empty bucket, that is 3 we have found. So we will place this data 92 in this third bucket. So similarly we can proceed with all other values like for 101. So if 101 is mapping to key value 3, at 3 position I have already kept the value 92, fine, and 4th position is also occupied with the value 73. So next empty bucket which I got is 5th one, and I will place 101 at this 5th position now. So this is how we perform the linear probing. Next one is quadratic probing. So whenever collision occurs here, we will probe for I squareth bucket in the ith iteration, and once the I squareth bucket, empty bucket is found, we can put our data into it. Next one is double hashing. So this is another method in which we will apply our hash functions 2 times and look for the I into hash 2 times hash functions bucket in the ith iteration, which will be used for putting the data if the collision occurs, and it requires more computation time here because we are having 2 hash functions that needs to be computed. Now separate chaining versus open addressing. Now what is the difference between these two collision resolution techniques? So first of all, separate chaining, it has some advantages over open addressing, like collision resolution is simple and efficient. The hash table can hold more elements without the large deterioration in the performance, and the performance of chaining declines much more slowly than open addressing. Deletion is easy in case of separate chaining, and disadvantages include that it requires the implementation of additional data structure for the purpose of chaining, for the purpose of management, which is called linked list. So that linked list is taking extra memory space also. So that is the major disadvantage, and due to which some languages they are for creation of new nodes is quite expensive in case of linked list, and this is slowing down the system performance. So the summary of all these methods: linear probing, it has the best cache performance, but it suffers from clustering problem. Quadratic probing lies between the linear probing as well as the double hashing in terms of cache performance as well as clustering, and double hashing, it has poor cache performance but it does not involve any clustering. So that depends on our application that for which we want to use, and based on that we can use the corresponding collision resolution technique. Now next topic is storage management and compaction. Now how the storage is managed? There is one kind of procedure which is run by our central processing unit, that is garbage collection. So this garbage collection, it is a type of automatic memory management. So what the garbage collector will do, it will attempt to reclaim the garbage or the memory which is occupied by certain elements and that which is no longer in use by the program, because sometimes the memory is not deallocated actually. So what garbage collector will do, it will check for all the memory which is not used by the program now, and then it will start tagging all those unused memory cells. Those are actually memory cells. So those memory cells, they are tagged by the garbage collection procedure, and like any other memory management technique, this garbage collection will take a proportion of total processing time in a program, and it can have a on the performance also. So now next it comes is compaction, though these two procedures are complementary of one another. So process of moving all those nodes which have been marked by the garbage collector, because like if I say I have one this is my memory, fine, here I have, let's say this is 1024 bytes of data, here I have 528 bytes of data, fine, here I am having some data, here I am having some data, fine, at this particular position I do not have any data and this memory is like 128 MB, fine. Now here also I am having some data, then another portion of it, here we have, let's say 256 MB, here I do not have any data, this is not used by the program likewise. So what garbage collector will do, it will tag this cell and it will also tag this cell, and what compaction will do, compaction algorithm will combine these two memory spaces in order to make them one single memory space. that is 256 plus 128 MB. So this will be the total memory space that is provided by this compaction procedure. So after repeated allocation and deallocation of blocks, the memory becomes fragmented. So this is actually the fragmented memory, and compaction will join this non-contiguous memory blocks to one large block as you have seen over here, so that the total free memory becomes contiguous. So these are the references which I followed. Thank you.